You know, in the 2024 elections, man, the DA is going to have a tough time. The DA is going to have a tough time, more especially with the announcement of MK Party and this party of Ace Magashule. I'm not saying this because I'm saying the MK Party and the party of Ace Magashule is going to take the voters from the Democratic Alliance. But I'm telling you that the attacks on the DA are going to intensify. Right now in South Africa, we have 4 political parties. We have ANC, we have EFF, we have MK Party, and we have this party of Ace Magashule. What is it common about all of those political parties? They love racial and identity politics. They don't have to go on the records. They don't have to debate about the issues, man. They love racial and identity politics. What do I mean about this? Have you realized that every time when the DA comes out and say, guys, you cannot vote for the ANC and the EFF, we are calling for the dissolvement of certain municipality that is governed by the EFF and the ANC, the DA will always bring the receipts. When the DA comes out and tells you that, guys, these are reasons why you should not vote for the African National Congress and the EFF coalition, they will bring you the receipts. But when it comes to the ANC and the EFF, it is a different story. It is a different story because these people, they don't even have to go into the records of the DA to criticize the DA. They don't have to go into the records of the DA to criticize the DA. They only have to play racial and identity politics. The ANC and the EFF simply goes to the people and tell them that, guys, no matter how bad things are, do not vote for the DA. You cannot afford to vote for the DA. It doesn't matter what the ANC does to you. You cannot afford to vote for the DA. Do you know what is going to happen if you vote for the DA? They are going to bring apartheid back. This is what the ANC is telling the people. This is what the ANC is telling the people. That the DA hates black people. You cannot vote for the DA because the DA is the party that hates black people. I always pause it right there. And it boggles my mind. How can ANC go around telling people that the DA hates black people when black people under the ANC government are suffering the most? Black people under the ANC government, 60% of young people are unemployed under the ANC government. The ANC government is giving young black people a 30% Njimotsecha education system. Black people under the ANC government are getting these kind of public hospitals that we are getting. I think at this point, everyone knows of the state of our public hospitals. Everyone knows of the state of our public clinics. The ANC has destroyed the state-owned entities. Right now, the ANC has destroyed ESCOM. People, majority of the people in the country who are black people are the ones who are losing their appliances to the load shedding. People, their fridges, their television sets, their microwaves, things are getting messed up. If you look into the black communities, people are being slaughtered on the streets because the ANC cannot get hold of load shedding. People cannot even go to work at early hours because the thugs are waiting for them. Why? Because it is dark, because of the ANC load shedding. So the same ANC has the audacity to go around and tell people that the DA hates you, the DA wants to oppress you. The same ANC man cannot even look at what he's doing to the same black people that he's claiming to love. The announcement of MK Party and the party of Ace Magashule are not going to make things better for the DA. I'm saying this because the attacks are going to intensify. The attacks are going to intensify. If you thought that ANC and the EFF calling you racist, if you thought that the ANC going around telling people that you hate black people, if you thought it was worse, wait until MK Party and this party of Ace Magashule starts talking about the DA. Starts talking about the DA. I mean, isn't it funny how everyone expects the DA to be on a higher standard than other political parties? You look at the ANC has the audacity to come and tell the people that, guys, we as an organization, we are not perfect. The ANC has done a lot of mistakes and we believe that as an organization, we are not perfect. We are not perfect. But you look at the DA, for some reason, people expect the DA to be perfect. For some reason, people expect the DA to be perfect. I mean, it's like even when the identity politics is played, when people come out and attack Helen Zille or attack John Steenhuisen personally, It is fine. It is all politics. It is fine. It is all politics. But when John Steenhuisen comes out and says, Julius Malema is our enemy number one, the EFF is our enemy number one, people are saying, no. The DA needs to tell us what they are going to do instead of focusing on these personal attacks. So when the ANC and the EFF attacks the DA personally, it is fine. But as soon as the DA plays the same game, people are saying, no, you need to tell us instead of these personal attacks. The DA has allowed itself to be boxed into a corner, man. The DA has allowed itself to be boxed into a corner. It is going to be hard for the DA to come out of that box, more especially with the formation of these political parties. These radical political parties that are being formed left, right, and center are going to make things very hard for the DA, because if you have to look at the majority of the people in the country, are poor black people. These people, they love racial and identity politics. They don't care about policies. They don't care about the state of the country. They don't care about taking South Africa forward, because if these people really cared about taking South Africa forward, they would have voted out the ANC a long time ago. They would have voted out the ANC a long time ago. That's why I'm saying it is very surprising to me and very weird to me that the ANC can go around and tell the people that the DA hates black people. The DA will make black people suffer. Black people under the DA will get the worst treatment than they got under apartheid. But the same ANC, you just have to sit back and look at the track record of the ANC. You just have to look back at the state of black people in the country today. You just have to sit back and look at the state of the communities in which black people are living. You look at the education system, you look at the healthcare system, you look at crime, you look at all these sort of issues that are affecting black people today under the ANC government, and the same government has the audacity to go around and tell you an opposition party is going to oppress you. I don't know how the DA is going to go out. I don't know how the DA is going to box out of this corner, man. I don't know how the DA is going to box out of this corner. For some reason, man, they have allowed these people to identify the party. They've allowed these people, man, to describe the party to the people. For some reason, the DA has allowed the ANC and the EFF to portray how the DA is. Instead of the DA portraying itself to the people, they have allowed the ANC and the EFF to portray how the DA is. And this is the reason why it's going to be hard for the DA to come out of that corner. You know, I always compare the DA with Oranje. I know many people, when I talk about Oranje, I mean, they get fed up that, Thomas, you are starting again with your nonsense of Oranje. It is so easy for black politicians in South Africa to make people hate Oranje. It is easy, man. It is so easy. Simply tell them that, guys, Oranje will not allow you in as a black man. It is that reason alone, it is enough. That reason alone, it is enough for people to say that I'm not going to look into Oranje. But if you are a practical person, man, if you are someone who loves to look deeper into the matters, you're going to say, why are politicians so passionate when they talk about Oranje? What is it that these people don't want us to learn about Oranje? You start doing your own dive, then you find out that in Oranje there is no crime. You find out in Oranje there is no unemployment rate. You find out in Oranje there are no potholes. You find out in Oranje things are working. And you're like, man, why aren't these people telling us that, guys, as much as we hate Oranje, but can we please try to emulate how Oranje has been operating? Can we please try to copy and paste how Oranje has been operating? No, this is not what people are saying. This is not what politicians are saying. And for some reason, people have allowed themselves to allow politicians to dictate how far they think. Politicians are literally dictating to people how far they can think. That's why today when you say Oranje, people first thing will say that, nah, I don't want to hear anything. That is a racist place. Fine, it is a racist place. Okay, whatever makes you sleep at night. But can you look at what Oranje is doing? Can you look at what Oranje is doing? Can you see? Like, wouldn't you love to live in a community that helps each other? Wouldn't you love to live in a community where people actually value the community? Wouldn't you love to live in a community that has no potholes? Wouldn't you love to live in a community that has no crime? Wouldn't you love to live in a community that has no unemployment rate? We all wish for this. Today we have millions of political parties because they are promising us what Oranje is like. These political parties are promising South Africa what Oranje is like. They are telling you, we're gonna combat crime, we're gonna make sure that your children are employed, and we're going to make sure that the infrastructure is good. All of these things that politicians are talking about today, they can be seen in Oranje. But because the politicians are actually allowing people, and people have actually allowed themselves for politicians to dictate for how far they can think, they cannot see these things. They cannot see these things, all of these things that political parties are talking about, they are there in Oranje. All of these things. You hear right now, Getting McKenzie saying, we must bring God in our schools. We must bring God in our communities. Getting McKenzie went to Oranje, man. He realized that, man, these people, man, they love God. These people, they have their value systems. You come into our neighborhoods, you look at how people are living, you look at how people treat each other, and you're like, man, there is no way we have values within our communities. The fact that we can simply dump next to someone's house, the fact that we don't care, we can simply dump rubbish next to someone's home. We don't care if that person has children. We don't care if that person is sick. We don't care the kind of sicknesses that rubbish brings to those people. We don't care. We simply dump. At every corner in our communities, you will find the illegal dumpings. You will find illegal dumpings at every single corner in our communities. We are fine with it. We live with open sewages. We are fine with it. We are fine with it. The same people, man, that have allowed a situation where people are living with open sewages are coming back and telling you there are another political party hate you. There's another political party. You cannot even afford to vote for that political party. You must suffer. You must suffer and continue to suffer under our administration. If you don't suffer under the ANC, then come and suffer under the EFF. But you cannot even think of voting for the DA. The DA, it is not an option. I don't know how the DA is going to box itself out of that situation. I don't know how they're going to box themselves out of that situation. I don't know. Things are going to be very interesting, man, in these elections. Things are going to be very interesting in these elections, and I'm looking particularly at the DA. I'm looking to see if the DA is still going to maintain being the second largest party after these elections, man. You know, everything can happen right now. Everything can happen right now. And if the DA fails to keep that second spot, then it's over with the party. I hope the party understands that. I hope the party understands that once we get two radical political parties on top of the food chain, it is done. It is done.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you, Solly. Greg is running our election campaign, as he has for every single election that I've ever been directly involved in the DP and now the DA. So I welcome you all to this very important press conference. Greg has told you the important news. And of course, we keep our fingers very closely on the pulse of statistics in the DA. We are data-driven, and everything we do is based on what the data is telling us. And the data is telling us that this can be an historic election, but that we cannot take it for granted for one single minute, because this election could literally turn.
Me, I don't know, guys, if I'm being shallow-minded or what. You remember that election that Donald Trump won? You remember how everyone said that Hillary Clinton was going to win? The mainstream media, the polls, all the indications indicated that Hillary Clinton was going to win in a landslide. Then it ended up with Donald Trump winning the elections. So from then, I knew that this whole things of the polls, this whole things of the data, it means nothing at the end of the day. It means nothing. It's nothing but speculations. It's nothing but speculations, because how did everyone get it so wrong? How did everyone get it so wrong? That Hillary Clinton, everyone thought that Hillary Clinton was going to win the presidency. Even people who loved Donald Trump, they didn't think that Donald Trump actually had a chance of winning against Hillary Clinton, because Donald Trump is a businessman. He comes again from the entertainment side, and Hillary Clinton has been the politician all her life. People who know her for being a politician. She was a Secretary of State, and she's married to a former president. So it was natural for the presidency to go to Hillary Clinton. But the data said, man, Hillary Clinton is going to win the elections. Everyone thought that Hillary Clinton is going to win the elections. But what happened? So I wouldn't advise the DA to actually rely on this data. I wouldn't advise the DA to rely on the data, because, man, the data, man, it showed us in 2016 that
on a single vote here and a single vote there. And it is for that reason that every single person who wishes to have a new government in South Africa to rescue our country needs to take personal responsibility now to get out there and do their bit. The point about a democracy is that you don't leave things to the politicians. You get the politicians you deserve because it's the politicians you voted for.
But that is the thing with South Africans. When South Africans we have delegated our problems to politicians. The same politicians that are doing everything in their power to make sure that the country is divided, the people in the country, they hate each other. We are taking our problems and we are giving to these problems. We are giving them to these people. This is the reason why the country is like this today. It is because everyone has ignored their responsibilities. All the communities have ignored their communities. This is the reason why every time when I come to criticize our own communities, I will always compare them with Oranje. I will always compare them with Oranje. I was like, man, you can say whatever that you want to say about Oranje, but the fact remains you don't love your own community. You don't love your own community, because if you loved your own community, you would have made sure that your community is safe. You would have made sure that there are no open sewages in your own community. You would have made sure that there is no crime within your communities. But the fact that all of these issues, they exist in your communities, it shows that all of you people, we don't love our communities. We can say whatever that we want to say, cry all you want about Oranje, but look into your own community. Look into your own community. Why is it so hard, man, for us to actually love and cherish our own communities? Why is it so hard, man? And why is it so easy for people to simply jump to that? Yeah, Oranje, it is racist. Fine, man, fine. Millions of people have already said Oranje it is racist. But are you simply telling me that there's nothing that we can learn? Are you not going to look at how Oranje is doing things and say, guys, this is how we can do things. We can actually cherish our own community. Because I always say that the moment people start loving their communities, the same way people in Oranje love their own communities, they will never allow anyone to come inside their community. They will never allow anyone to come inside of their community. Even the same politicians that are lying to you, telling you that you should be unified, all of your communities, you should be able to travel everywhere you want. You go to the places where these politicians live. You cannot even go into some of these communities because they are gated communities. You cannot simply walk in and say that, yeah, I want to go and stroll in the streets of Central. I want to go in and stroll in the streets of the suburbs, man. They will tell you that if you don't have any appointments, you cannot come here. At the corners, at some of these communities, there are security guards. You cannot go inside of a community without passing by the security guards. But the same politicians are telling you that it is okay for your community not to have the security guards, because the moment you start having security guards, man, you're going to operate like Oranje. So they don't mind living in a place like Oranje, but they don't want you to live in a place like Oranje. This is the reason why politicians are pushing for the open borders, but they have the highest walls in their homes. These are things that you would thought that people would understand in 2024, man. These are basic things that you would think people would understand in 2024. But here we are, still talking about these things. Still talking about these things. Can you please show me one community where people love their own community, where people cherish their own community, where people clean their own community? Can you tell me about one area where those same people are allowing criminals to go everywhere they want? They don't allow that. They don't allow that, man. In some of the communities, they don't even allow the illegal dumpings. Some of the communities have already designated a single space where they say, guys, all of us, we need to dump there. And this space is a bit far from all of us, so we think it's a bit safe. This is what communities are doing. But you come in our townships, this is not what is happening. People are dumping at every single corner. They are dumping. They are dumping at every single corner. It is smelling nasty. It's smelling nasty. Open sewages, children playing, dirty water from the government. It is a mess. It is a mess. What does it say about our own communities? What does it say about us as people? Can you look at where the community that you come from? If you now live in the suburbs, good for you. Good for you. But can you look in the communities where majority of the people live, especially black people live? Can you honestly look at those communities and tell me that those people love their communities? They value their communities? No. No. Do you think that 12-year-olds in Oranje, they walk around with the cans of beer? Do you think that the 12-year-olds in Oranje, they are standing at the corner smoking the cigarettes? No. But you go and come into our neighborhoods, and these are kind of things you will see. These are kind of things you will see. And when we mention these things, people are saying that now we are being harsh on the black community, we are being harsh on our own people. But have you seen 12-year-olds smoking in Orania. Do you think that there are 12-year-olds smoking? No, they are not. They are not. But in our communities, these things are a norm. These things are a norm. They have soccer fields. They are sitting there in the soccer fields. They are smoking them and their girlfriends. It's weekend. It's weekend. They are drinking beer. No one says anything. Adults are simply passing. Adults are simply passing. Then we have the audacity to say that Orania is racist and there's nothing we can learn from Orania. Are you sure there's nothing that you can learn from Orania?
And no political party is perfect, but they can be...
Of course, no political party is perfect, but for some reason, everyone expects the DA to be perfect. Everyone expects the DA to be perfect. You know, the DA is the kind of a political party that people have respect for, but they don't want to show that they have respect for this political party. It is a weird combination. It is a weird combination. Because when all political parties play identity politics, when politicians in South Africa start attacking each other personally, no one says anything. But if the DA dare says anything, the DA, you dare say anything, people will tell you that, no, man, no, this is not what we are expecting from the DA. And this is quite disappointing from the DA. The DA needs to tell us about their plans for the future of the country. If you have been on the platform for a while, you remember... And there was a time where I said, man, why is the DA the only political party that is required to bring the solutions? People are not asking other political parties to bring the solutions. When Julius Malema stands on stage and says that Ramaphosa has a big nose and his nose is a big like a pothole, no one says, Julius Malema, what are your future plans for South Africa? No one says that. But when John Steenhuisen stands on stage and says the same thing, people are saying, no, John Steenhuisen, you need to shut up and you need to start telling us about the future plans of the DA. But for some reason, the DA has allowed itself to go into that corner. They've allowed themselves to go into that corner, man. And I think the DA allowing the ANC and the EFF to actually define them, it is going to break them. It is going to break them. It is going to break them.
Absolutely no doubt that one party knows how to govern, one party knows how to ensure that we grow jobs, which is the most important thing for South Africa, to get people into jobs and out of poverty. All the data tells you that, and that's the DA. We also know that many of the smaller parties get an opportunity to have high office through the ANC and take the votes they've got and hand them straight to the ANC, as we've just seen in Plettenberg Bay, which is an absolute tragedy for the B2 municipality, as they will now learn. This election has stakes that have never been higher. And at this historic moment, all the voters of South Africa need to understand that they may have hoped for a better life for the past 30 years, but now they really have to vote for one.
Yeah. Guys, when you look at the elections in general, when you hear what people are saying about the elections in general, do you think there's a mood in South Africa to go to the polls? Do you think there's a mood for South Africa to go to the polls, or do you think the same people that voted in 2019 are the same people that will be on the polls in 2024? Is there a mood? Is there a mood for change in the country, or things are still the same? I don't know about you guys, but where I stay, things are a bit the same, man. Things are still the same. I don't see a mood. I don't see young people moving up. I don't see a mood of saying, guys, this is the year for a change. This is a year for a change. I don't see that mood. How about where you live, guys? How about in your area? Do you think that more people will actually come out and vote out the ANC in 2024? Or do you believe that this is nothing but a political talk that is not going to happen? There's a difference between something that is going to happen and there's a wish. And is this a wish of kicking the ANC out of governance, or is it something that is actually going to happen? I'm not sure. I feel the mood in the country, man. I'm not sure if South Africans are actually ready for this change that Helen Zille is talking about.
And that is what this election is about. The stakes are much too high to stay home. The stakes are much too high not to bother to check whether you are registered or to go out and register where you plan to be voting. And you can only vote at the voting station where you are registered. And if you want to know, we've got a very simple method that avoids the bureaucracy of the IEC and every other hassle. You go to check.da.org.za. Our computer fundies have worked out a program that enables you to very quickly establish whether you're registered, and if so, where you are registered. And if you go and look on that site, check.da.org.za, you will immediately see where you are registered and if you are registered. And if you aren't registered, this is your last chance this weekend to register in person at the polling station at which you want to be voting in this year's election. And if you are registered at the wrong voting station, if you've moved or live in a different place or might be at a different place when the election comes, although we don't know exactly when that will be, just make sure you are registered at a place where you can vote. This is a simple responsibility that every single voter in a democracy needs to take very, very seriously indeed. We do owe it to the future. We don't want a situation where in the next generation you look back and say, we lost by a handful of votes, and I was part of that handful. We know how important one vote is. I certainly know. I was elected Mayor of Cape Town by one vote in the council. Chris Pappas also knows. He was elected as Mayor of Umgeni by one vote in his council. And we all know from the quarterfinals, the semi-finals and the finals of the recent Rugby World Cup what the power of 1 point is. It's exactly the same with a vote. We won the quarterfinals by 1 point, we won the semi-finals by 1 point, and we won the finals by 1 point. It's exactly the same with a vote. And Dricus du Plessis became world champion by one vote. Or by one, I don't know what they called in that sport, not my sport. But anyway, there was 1 point. Maybe not one vote, 1 point involved in that. The point is the power of one. That's the point. And every one single individual can make or break our country. That is the point of democracy. So we do urge people to take this responsibility seriously. The only thing that stands between South Africa and success is the apathetic voter. We need to go out and do our duty now. Thank you.
Guys, how do you think the DA is going to perform, man? You look at the DA, you look at how they are going, and you look at how they are campaigning. Or has the DA actually started the election campaign? I don't think the DA has officially started the election campaign, man. I see they are doing a smaller yana there, going out with the multi-party, doing talking there, but I don't think the party has actually kick-started its election campaign. And I don't know why they haven't kick-started the election campaign, because you look at the EFF, you look at the ANC, these people have already done the stadiums. And right now, I think the DA, man, for some reason, people are expecting the DA to fill up a stadium. People are expecting the DA to fill up a stadium. I think politically that is just a show of force to show that we still have support. I think this is something that the DA also needs to do, because the EFF is going on their second stadium and the ANC is also going on their third stadium, I think, right now. So the DA is a bit behind. So I hope that one day they're gonna come out and start showing this force. Guys, what are your thoughts, man, on the comment section? Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, the subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba, so I will see you next time. Bye bye.